Somewhere in the ocean right now, a creature is looking at the world through 16 different color channels. Not 3, like humans. 16. It perceives ultraviolet light, polarized signals, and colors that don't even have names in any human language. And that's just one animal. There are others out there, living, breathing organisms whose abilities sound less like biology and more like science fiction. Regenerating entire limbs, producing electricity from their own bodies, surviving the vacuum of space. These aren't concepts from a futuristic laboratory. These are evolutionary solutions, millions of years in the making, and they exist right now. The mantis shrimp doesn't look like much at first glance. A colorful crustacean, roughly the size of a human hand, crawling along tropical seafloors, but its eyes tell a different story. Each eye moves independently, scanning the environment like a living radar system. Inside those eyes, 16 types of photoreceptor cells process wavelengths of light that human technology can barely detect. Humans see the world through combinations of red, green, and blue. The mantis shrimp sees those, plus ultraviolet bands, plus polarized light patterns that reveal hidden signals invisible to nearly every other species on Earth. It can detect the faint polarized reflections on a fish's scales from meters away. It can see the UV markings on coral that indicate health or decay. Some researchers initially assumed this meant the mantis shrimp experienced a richer, more detailed visual world than any other animal. But further studies revealed something more nuanced. Its brain doesn't process colors the way ours does. It recognizes them instantly, without comparison. The system is less about experiencing beauty and more about speed, identifying prey, avoiding predators, finding mates, in a fraction of a second. But vision isn't even this animal's most famous ability. The mantis shrimp possesses 2 raptorial appendages, club-like arms that strike with the fastest recorded movement in the entire animal kingdom. The acceleration is so violent that it generates cavitation bubbles in the water. When those bubbles collapse, they produce a secondary shock wave, a flash of light, and temperatures that momentarily reach thousands of degrees. The prey is often dead before the claw even makes contact. The shrimp punches so hard that aquariums have reported cracked glass. Engineers have studied the structure of its clubs to design stronger body armor. Evolution built a hypersonic weapon attached to an animal that also happens to see in 16 dimensions of color. That's not metaphor, that's documented biology. But if the mantis shrimp is a weapons system, the tardigrade is something else entirely. It's a survival machine. A microscopic creature, no larger than a grain of sand, with 8 stubby legs and a body that looks vaguely like a translucent gummy bear. And yet, the tardigrade has been found in volcanic hot springs beneath Antarctic ice and at the bottom of the Mariana Trench. In laboratory conditions, it has survived temperatures near absolute zero and above boiling. It has endured pressures 6 times greater than those found in the deepest ocean. And in 2007, a European Space Agency experiment sent tardigrades into low Earth orbit, exposing them directly to the vacuum of space and unfiltered cosmic radiation. Most of them survived. Some even reproduced afterward. How does a creature smaller than a poppy seed survive conditions that would instantly kill virtually any other known organism? The answer lies in a process called cryptobiosis. When the environment becomes hostile, the tardigrade expels nearly all the water from its body and enters a dormant state called a ton. In this form it is not exactly alive, but it isn't dead either. Its metabolism drops to nearly undetectable levels. Proteins fold into glass-like structures that protect its cells from radiation and desiccation. Time, in a sense, stops. And when water returns, the tardigrade rehydrates and resumes normal function as if nothing happened. Scientists isn't revived tardigrades from tons that were over 30 years old. This isn't magic. It's a biochemical mechanism so robust that researchers are now studying tardigrade proteins for potential applications in vaccine preservation and human medicine. A microscopic animal may hold keys to keeping human cells stable in extreme conditions. Meanwhile, in the freshwater lakes of Mexico, another creature demonstrates a different kind of biological impossibility. The axolotl, a pale, feathery salamander that never fully matures into its adult form, can regenerate almost any part of its body, not just skin, not just tissue, entire limbs. If an axolotl loses a leg, it grows back. Bones, muscles, nerves, blood vessels, all reconstructive in perfect functional order within weeks. But it doesn't stop there. The axolotl can regenerate portions of its spinal cord, parts of its heart, even sections of its brain. Researchers have transplanted organs between axolotls and observed the animals accepting foreign tissue without rejection, something that would be catastrophic in most vertebrates. What makes this possible? The answer involves a near-total reprogramming of cells at the wound site. Adult cells dedifferentiate. They revert to a stem cell-like state, then respecialize based on what structure needs to be rebuilt. Humans possess some of these genetic pathways, but they remain dormant. In the axolotl, they're fully active. Scientists have mapped its genome, over 30 billion base pairs, times larger than the human genome, and continue to study how this regeneration might one day be unlocked in other species. The axolotl exists in critically endangered numbers in the wild, but in laboratories around the world, it may be pointing the way toward a future where human limb regeneration is possible. Deep in the murky rivers of South America, another animal offers a different kind of superpower. The electric eel isn't actually an eel. It's a knifefish, more closely related to catfish and carp, but its abilities defy easy categorization. The electric eel generates electricity, not metaphorically, literally. Specialized cells called electrocytes, stacked in series like batteries, produce electrical discharges of up to 860 volts. That's more than enough to stun a horse, enough to incapacitate a human. The eel uses this ability for hunting, navigation, and self-defense, releasing pulses of electricity that allow it to sense its environment even in total darkness. Recent research has revealed something even more remarkable. The electric eel can remotely control its prey. High-voltage pulses activate the nervous systems of nearby fish, forcing their muscles to contract involuntarily. The prey freezes, twitches, reveals itself. The eel doesn't chase, it commands. Scientists studying these mechanisms have explored applications in bioelectronics, including implants that could one day generate power inside the human body. The eel's electroplates have inspired designs for flexible, organic batteries. An animal that evolved in muddy rivers millions of years ago now informs cutting-edge biotechnology. But perhaps no ability seems more like fiction than what the cuttlefish does with its skin. Cuttlefish are cephalopods, relatives of squid and octopus, with soft bodies and large, W-shaped pupils. They are also masters of real-time camouflage. Their skin contains millions of specialized cells called chromatophores, each one a tiny sac of pigment controlled by muscle fibers. Below those lie iridophores and leucophores, cells that reflect and scatter light. Together, they form a dynamic display surface. The cuttlefish doesn't just change color. It changes pattern, texture, and reflectivity in fractions of a second. A cuttlefish resting on sand looks like sand. One drifting past coral mimics coral. When threatened, it can flash hypnotic wave patterns across its body, confusing predators with a display that seems almost digital. And here's the twist. Cuttlefish are colorblind. They perceive only one channel of color, likely green. And yet, their camouflage matches their environment perfectly. How? Researchers believe the animal's skin may detect light directly, independent of its eyes. Some chromatophores contain light-sensitive proteins, similar to those found in retinas. The cuttlefish might literally see with its skin, each square centimeter adjusting in real time, informed by ambient light, perceived through the very cells that change. Military engineers have spent decades trying to replicate this ability. The cuttlefish has had it for hundreds of millions of years. And finally, the pistol shrimp. Barely 5 centimeters long, unassuming, but capable of producing one of the loudest sounds in the ocean. The shrimp's oversized claw snaps shut with such force that it generates a cavitation bubble, a brief pocket of near vacuum that collapses almost instantly. That collapse produces a shock wave loud enough to stun or kill small fish. And for a microsecond, the temperature inside that collapsing bubble reaches nearly 5,000 degrees Celsius, hotter than the surface of the sun. The phenomenon, called sonoluminescence, also produces a brief flash of light, not enough to see with the naked eye, but detectable. A shrimp, snapping its claw, briefly creates temperatures found only in stars and nuclear reactions. It uses this weapon thousands of times a day. Entire colonies of pistol shrimp produce so much noise that they've been known to interfere with submarine sonar systems. This wasn't discovered by accident. Navies during World War II struggled to track enemy vessels near certain coastlines. The culprit turned out to be tiny crustaceans. There's a pattern here. These animals didn't evolve for spectacle. They evolved under pressure. The mantis shrimp needed to catch fast prey in low-light water. The tardigrade needed to survive unpredictable environments where resources vanished without warning. The axolotl evolved in a world where predators took limbs, so regrowing them became essential. The electric eel navigated waters where vision was useless. The cuttlefish survived by disappearing. The pistol shrimp competed in environments where stunning prey faster meant eating first. These abilities aren't miracles, they're adaptations. But the fact that nature arrived at these solutions without labs, without engineers, without conscious design is precisely what makes them extraordinary. Millions of years of trial, error, death, and survival compressed into living systems that still outperform human technology. The future isn't something we'll invent from scratch. In many cases, it already exists, swimming, crawling, and regenerating in the natural world. We just haven't finished learning from it yet.